Alright, what up, guys? As you guys may have noticed, I've been on nights for the last week, right? And in doing so, I haven't been streaming as much. I haven't been streaming at all this week. But I got home to see that there was a new Diablo update, and it'll be coming out next week. So I wanted to show you what that update entailed. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I know I like to go big into things. So what we're gonna do is go into this update. Discover good fortune, Tongshi's renewal. So we cannot wait for your wish blessing upon your friends in this event. Fresh batch of new legendary items. 36 new items coming out for all the classes. Due to this upcoming holiday, we will not be releasing the content in 2 weeks. Instead, we'll be releasing our next content update about 3 weeks from now. This content update is a real firecracker, so without delay, let's dig in. So, previous contents, server maintenance starting on the 15th for Oceanic, 16th for American servers. So that's something to look forward to is this coming 16th of January, which poses to be a Monday. They're supposedly coming out with this update. But 36 new legendaries. No, all the below legendaries are only available in held difficulty 6 or higher. So if you haven't gotten there yet, please do so, guys. Get to 6. Let's see what they're bringing out. So Barbarian main hand Whirlwind now draws on the power of the wind to deal increased damage and no longer reduce your movement speed. So that's kind of cool because the biggest thing was if you did a Whirlwind build, you typically use the larger Whirlwind so you could pull people in at a further radius, whether it was PvE or PvP, and then it slowed your spin, but you consumed less if it was. Horns of Hargoth, the headpiece during Wrath of Berserker, slaying enemies increases your damage dealt by 1% for 6 seconds up to a maximum of 10%. That could be really nice because right now, I think most barbs, including myself, are using the 1 second increased duration on Undying. So that could be fun to see what happens. Shoulders. You know what? Let's see what shoulders I'm actually wearing. So I'm wearing the currently Wrath of Berserker cooldown increase. So shoulders Wrath of Berserker also grants you a shield that absorbs damage. I could actually get along with that. Having a shield and getting CC'd all the time, that could be fun. Seeing what that percentage based damage is. A chest piece. So like right now I'm using flame spears. So I don't think I'll be using this whirlwind one, but I could make a whirlwind build off this chest piece. Whirlwind damage increased by 10% for each bleed on an enemy, up to a maximum of 30%. So that makes me curious. Is Whirlwind now going to inflict a bleed? Or are we going to have to use the main hand of Lacerate, putting a bleed on, and if you do Whirlwind on them, it increases the bleed damage. So we'll have to see when we get that piece. Can's Furious Charge now causes you to drag enemies with you, but maximum is 2 charges. See, that could still be fun. Because you're able to do that with Mystic Strike as a monk. That you could have fun with that you're causing loss of control by dragging people instead of charging and popping people up. May have to experiment with that one. And offhand, so instead of using your crit offhand, Wrath of Berserker now cause... Oh, yes! That is what we needed there, guys. Let me just get rid of my webcam cover right now. So look at that right there. Wrath of Berserker now causes nearby enemies to burn. I am a big fan. If any of you guys have watched my videos and showing my Barb Bleed Burn build, I use Lacerate main hand as a bleed. I use my flame spikes. So, like my current build right here, Wrath of Berserker, throw out some flame spikes. I have my charge. So, I am big into tick burn damage. That is just awesome. Wrath of Berserker now causes enemies to burn. Ooh, that'd be fun. Like, I could still get behind, right? Instead of getting 3 harpoons to cause burn, I'm still potentially throwing one, or I could switch it to my chest piece. Every time I do a charge, it decreases the damage or whatnot. It opens up my chest piece, right? So now every time I'm hitting Wrath of Berserker, I'm causing enemies nearby to burn. I am in big support of that. Like, that is ridiculous. Let's see here. No, these new legendary items are meant to help Barbarian focus on Wrath of Berserker and Whirlwind while learning the existing bleed attacks while leaning on existing bleed attacks to increase your further damage. So that seems like that Whirlwind is actually going to work off of your Lacerate Bleed main hand. So that may be something to look in. Let's see what they're doing with Crusader. So usually Crusaders use Vortex chest piece to pull. So now let's see, it says Condemned now fills your soul with Valor's Retribution for 6 seconds, causing every primary attack to unleash a lightning bolt at your target, dealing damage to nearby enemies. That could be interesting. Like, I know a lot of people like the pull, but I could see where that could go. Shoulders, falling sword damage increased by 10%. I don't really seeing that being utilized as much because a lot of people now, Satyr wise, are using that new stun build where they drop down a circle on somebody. And if they leave that circle, because it chains the immediate enemies that you drop the circle on, they leave it, they get stunned. So maybe people use it, maybe they won't. Shield Charge also grants you 10% increased damage for 3 seconds. That could actually be really nice for satyrs, especially if any satyrs are using the glooms, at least 2-piece gloom, where they increase their damage after a charge. So now they'd be stacking offhand. So when I was playing Crusader, my offhand was Condemned Detonates, so it's doing instant damage. This Condemned could be fun to play with because Condemned also unleashes bright light that blinds enemies for 1 second. So there is a build that Crusaders could really build off of a Condemned build, where maybe you're not pulling them anymore, but you have a headpiece that increases the amount of damage you do to blinded and stunned enemies. And any lower res people out there that are using the Curseling gem, Curseling itself, if we go just looking at a Curseling right now, 15% chance when attacked to release a burst of light that blinds all nearby enemies, reducing their vision and causing total loss of control. So I could see that really playing into effect. I've already talked about the Curseling playing into effect with that blind stun helmet. That could really work out really well. Let's see. Pants Condemned also deals 10% increased damage for each harmful effect the enemy suffers from, up to a maximum of 30%. That is really good. Like, I could see Crusaders overall turning their PvP build and making a new one off of these new pieces. Main hand, Sacred Fire now ignites enemies, burning them for over 2 seconds. I have seen some Sacred Fire um, being used out there versus their standard. So that's really nice. They're throwing in a burn damage. For the main hand. For the Crusader, these new legendaries condemned and empowering primary attack. Yeah, I've always been when I played Crusader, I found like both primary attacks were kind of crappy in my opinion, like especially their ultimates. But I could see where this really makes. And I when I switch back to Crusader, get the new legendaries, I'll have to try that out. Let's see. Demon Hunter. New headpiece. Daring Swing also increases movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Yeah, that could be nice. Like, it's really hard to get people to change their Demon Hunter build. I know some people put out some good pieces. Pants Knife Trap now places more durable traps that trigger when you take damage. Now, that could be kind of good. It depends on how the traps actually interact with you taking damage. Like if you place, because usually you see a DH, they put down a trap. There's an area that somebody walks in, it pops, or there'll be an opportunist DH and they'll fear you, or wait to your cheat death procs and they'll throw like a frozen trap underneath you. So it may be interesting to see how that goes. Offhand, after using knockback shot, your damage is increased by 10 seconds for 3 seconds, or 10% for 3 seconds. Once again, making DHs kind of nasty again. Main hand Impale can now be charged, allowing you to throw multiple knives at once. I don't really see a lot of DHs using Impale, so I don't see that really being a factor. Chest knockback now fires an arrow that immobilizes enemies. See, now immobilize an enemy can still attack, they can still shoot, so like a DH immobilizes a wizard, they can still beam you. You would stop a barb from being able to charge you. But that could be kind of nice. Like it isn't a true stun, but it does hold somebody in place. And that's totally going to be resistance and potency based, obviously. Um, but shoulders, that could be nice. Like I haven't particularly played DH other than my alt, and I did not have a lot of legendaries for it. I had enough to make it work, so I don't know if really the shoulders, like I know a lot of DHs are now using the increased damage to shielded shoulders for knockback. But may be interesting to see. A lot of DHs are still using trap builds that now traps deal 20% increased damage, suffering loss of control. I could see that becoming a new play factor. Let's see. Dev notes Demon Hunter. The focus is on utilizing knife trap and knockback for a 1-2 combo while gaining additional movement through daring swing. Okay. So last major big update. Monk's got a big update. Let's see. The Deadly Reach is definitely a PvE skill. I have seen a couple people use it in PvP, which I really find dumb because the main hand being able to teleport onto an enemy is really OP, and there's a main and offhand that make your primary attack just even nastier. But Deadly Reach also has a 25% chance to make enemies vulnerable, increasing damage taken by 10% for 2 seconds. Yeah, so this definitely I feel like is total PvE. I really don't see people using that one. Let's see, shoulders, Mystic Strike now causes your next skill within 4 seconds. See that. So everybody right now has been every monk that changed a monk after the update because they wanted to play the meta has been using the bell that instead of you dropping a bell that immobilizes enemies or electrifies and does continual damage, everybody switched to the fire. I've always been a big fan of fire, so I used it for PvE, started using it in PvP, but the fact that I am a big user of Mystic Strike. I use the 3 charges of Mystic Strike. It kind of does like a barb knockup, but it does AoE damage. That throwing these shoulders on, so Mystic Strike now causes your next skill to do increased damage. That's really nice, especially using the Gloom set where if you're using 4-piece Gloom, you're getting crit chance. If you're using 2-piece, you're still getting increased damage. That's going to be a really nice shoulder. Pants Mystic Strike now cons a spirit ally to charge forward, damaging and slowing enemies in its path. I definitely don't see that being used in PvE unless you're not a Mystic Strike charge guy. Maybe use it, but currently I'm using the pants that cause you to charge in a direction. Um, so that one probably wouldn't be for me for PvE. Mystic Strike now, chest piece, now increases 20% increased damage to enemies suffering loss of control. That could be a fun support. Because I know I personally liked doing the increased bell damage or using Shield of Zen. You could move unhindered and increase your movement speed. Chess piece. So may see that come into effect. Let's see, a headpiece for Mystic Allied duration decreased by basically half a second after defeating an enemy, up to 4 seconds. So that's definitely PvE. Be really fun, like when you're doing challenge rifts, even just doing dungeons. Your Mystic allies typically don't last very long. That if they're killing enemies, increasing duration, really good, really good. Um, Wave Strike. So Wave Strike versus Mystic Strike. I just caught that the chest piece is Wave Strike. I use Mystic Strike. Wave Strike now instantly unleashes a large blast of energy that damage enemies. So that could be similar to Demoralize. Um, have to really see when I switch back to Monk. See how we'd use that. For the Monk, the focus is utilizing Mystic Strike to create moments of bonus damage that can be followed up with abilities such as Strike. Okay. Now, Necromancer, I did when I played Necromancer this last go around. Tried to get most of the legendaries. I did test out the teleports. Wasn't too big of a fan of them, but I never did get the knockback new headpiece for the new spikes. So I'll definitely be going back to Necro to try and get these pieces as well. Let's see. Shoulders, Skeletal Mage. Damage increased by 5% each time you defeat an enemy. See, I hate they keep doing this. So I'm a big fan of the mages, especially for PvE. They have that new shoulder piece that makes empowered mages, but you have a shoulder piece that increases how many mages you can have by 1. So it gives you 2. So at max, you can potentially have 3 at times, unless you're doing like an Elder Rift that has empowered, where you sacrifice some of your life to get an ability back, and you can have up to 6 at one time. They did that with the last set of legendaries that came out, where you can increase the damage your mage does. But once again, it's getting rid of your normal mages, so the only real one you could make is that skeletal mage, where you're basically turning those mages into reapers. So you could potentially increase it, but I definitely see that being more PvE. Let's see, a chest piece for Bone Wall now places a new ethereal wall that continually damages enemies within and reduces their movement speed. So, continual damage. I was a big fan of using 6-piece channeling as a necro. It didn't follow under as one of the urge users, even though I could have a longer range, stuff like that, and I played multiple. For everybody that knows what I do, I've played Necro for the first 6.5 months, and I occasionally switch back to Necro to get the new legendaries, have fun with it for a week or two, and then switch back to a melee class. But I am curious about this continual bone wall damage. So you normally have 3 pillars of bone wall. Is it going to give you 3? So that's really going to be interesting. I'm really curious about the AoE effect to see how big is it? Is it like a bone pillar? Is it going to, if you took the ignite your bone pillar on fire, is that whole area, that same effect big? Because it does say it's making it larger, a larger wall that does continual damage. So that'd be interesting to see. Another main hand Grim Scythe. Let's see. Grim Scythe now slices through enemies in front of you several times, with the final swing inflicting a bleed. So that could be nice, but if it was like the new Barb Ancient Hammer, it's literally a channeled ability. So, like with the Barb, anyways, if I were to hit that channel hammer, it would pop up a bar, and I'd just be hammering, hammering, hammering as that bar is going down, and I can't cancel it, can't do anything, but you could get CC'd, and it would completely cancel the whole thing, and you lost the skill. So I'm wondering, because you normally get 2 charges of scythe, or you have the knockback scythe where you throw your scythe at people and it'll knock them back, inflicting damage, or you have however many enemies you hit, it stacks. I'm curious to see if that's more of channeling like the ancient hammer. It is nice that it's inflicting a bleed, so you could kind of use the scythe. So it generates corpses, it inflicts a bleed, and then you use corpse lance with your wraith. So you're throwing corpses at or needles back at him from the corpse lance. So that one could be interesting. Let's see, headpiece for Golem. Your golem is now linked to you equally, splitting the duration of harmful effects between both of you. Now, I don't know if much you guys have used, like I particularly like the lava golem for PvP. I still use like bone pillar, molten golem, and I would typically use the golem would take 20% of your incoming damage, so it made you a little tankier as a necro. But I noticed the biggest thing when I started playing that lava build again, um, people would normally typically, because my golem before I even got close to 7k had 1.5 million health, is what somebody in my clan told me when they were an enemy. And then I'd give them a bone shield and they're like, oh my god, he's unkillable. That most people, I know I do it personally, I see a necro running pets in PvP and they're throwing them at people, I try and kill the necro. I don't try and kill the pet unless I'm ranged, stay out of that fire damage, just because they're a big distraction that I'm curious to see. Because when I was throwing my golem around, he was affected by freezes, slows, all of that. And other than him just being by my side to do that continual burn damage, it might be interesting to see because there's a lot of seeping bile effects that tick on you for a while. Keys, Top G, Amber Turd. I know myself. Uh, we have some decent potency. Like I'm sitting at 2k, but all the other guys are 25k, 35k, 4k plus in potency. So that definitely can play a big effect. Um, really have to see how it goes. Ooh, this might be making a comeback with some Soulfire, though. Look at that. And I just realized, looking at it, the Grim Scythe is pants. Pants. I really. Ooh. Because I skipped over this one. I was on the Golem. Pants. Grim Scythe now triggers all continual damage on the target it hits, causing them to instantly take the remaining damage. we might see Necros now going without fear for chipped if this is good. So we'll really have to see what these Grim sites come into play with. Um, I am really curious about this offhand because I'm a big user of Soulfire and the Poison Spear, using the main hand to do poison damage. But now Soulfire has a 25% chance to explode on hit, dealing damage to nearby enemies and causing them to burn. So I really like that idea of an offhand because I haven't been lighting my bone pillars on fire for a long time. That if I went back to Soulfire and now I'm causing a potential target to burn, could really be nice. Especially if this chest piece is anything nice. Let's see, Dev Notes, a Necromancer. The focus is on Grim Sight to manipulate damage over time, concentrating your damage into a single powerful hit. So they're trying to kind of make like burst damage. I did a lot of drive-bys as a Necro where I'd go and try and hit a wizard, and I'd spam all my abilities, bleed, knock up, poison, wraith to fear him, try and see if I can kill him, and then just dip out. So it's interesting to see what. Let's see, wizard, one of the craziest, most OP characters in the game. If they can't get a hold of you, let's see here. Offhand, electrocute also increases your primary attack speed for 6% for 2 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 5 times. I know a lot of wizards aren't using their primary attacks, they're mainly using skill based. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. Headpiece teleport increases your damage by 10% for 3 seconds. I could see that being used over the freeze helm, or potentially the teleport helm that makes you go invisible after a teleport. Ice armor, shoulders, cause your primary attacks to decrease enemy movement speed by 40%. Whew. I don't know. We'll have to see if a lot of wizards want to switch over to ice armor because a lot of wizards they use the disintegrate burn damage. We'll have to see. Pants, arcane torment also fires tracking missiles to take out enemy damage. Yeah, lightning nova staff also increases primary attack speed for 30% for 3 seconds. Know a lot of wizards have been using lightning nova, so that could be a good buff. A chest piece for lightning nova now conjures a lightning orb that orbs around you, firing chain lightning at your target when you use primary attack. Primary attack, primary attack, primary attack. So I think, at least looking at this build, they're trying to make because wizards, hands down, just use skills. Not very many of them do you ever see going around primary attacking you. They're battle mages, hitting you with an attack, teleporting, knocking you up with nova balls, slowing you down, doing damage when you teleport, blah blah blah. This definitely seems like a primary attack build. Let's see, dev notes. For the wizard, the focus is on using Lightning Nova to empower your primary attacks with Electrocute, further stacking, increasing your attack speed while mixing in teleports for additional layer of boosted damage. Yeah, so that's what I thought. Is wizard has always been solely based on just using skills. You apply, you use your skill, do a bleed, do a channeling tick from 6-piece set. I don't know because I've only played a low level wizard in the game, just see how wizard went. How I know I've heard from multiple wizards, both their main attacks are pretty much doo doo. So we'll really have to see how that goes. Let's see. Legendary Essence Extraction. A new method of essence extraction is discovered. You can enhance your legendary attributes by increasing the power by extracting the same essences multiple times. Legendary equipment can no longer be salvaged at the blacksmith and must instead be extracted. Essence extraction still provides players with the same upgraded materials they get from salvaging, but now you can duplicate legendary items. So that's really cool because I know they did a data mine video showing the potential of if you got, like, let's say you had like a low essence in there and you found a better one, but it wasn't good enough to replace your main piece of gear, you could essence it, increasing its ability, taking on uh skills or whatnot. So that's kind of cool to see that they're adding it. The fact that they're now making you essence it and not salvage it, but still giving you the overall essence, so you're still getting that essence for it, was really nice. When you find a legendary item, you'll first extract it, put it into legendary essence, store it for you for inherent later, as always. Further extractions will grant essence energy to increase your mastery level. However, extracting essences from a particular legendary item will become more time. Eventually you'll no longer be able to extract it from legendary. So, if any of you guys played D3, right? As you were doing challenge rifts, you could level up a legendary, and if you did the same one, it would eventually say 100%, and then you did it again, it would drop to 70%, 50%, 10%, and eventually you would just have a point of failure. And because it wanted you to do that higher rift, right? I feel like this new legendary system might be a percentage based like that, where your first one's 100% guaranteed to extract it, and then maybe two or three extractions later, you have a 50 to 40% down to a 5% chance for it to actually increase that mastery level. Or maybe it's like a set item where you need 5 essences to craft a piece of gear. Maybe it'll be like, oh, for your next mastery upgrade, just like your heliquary, you need to have so many of this item, and then you can extract it. Like, don't get me wrong, you probably are still able to extract it, but it'll say like 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, all the way until it says 5 out of 5, and then it upgrades your mastery level. So we'll have to check after the update comes out to see what that actually does and see what the mastery levels are. Additionally, you will now receive upgraded materials for your first extraction. See, now that's really nice. Because originally, if you didn't have the piece of gear, you always had to scrap it so you could learn it. And it could be something really dumb. Like Monk, I think the chill. The only essence I still have left to get is a chilled exploding palm that I'd rather just sack it than essence it because I'm never going to use it. But that's kind of cool that sacking it or essencing the legendary item is still going to give you the mats for doing. As you increase your mastery level, it'll further enhance all your power, your legendary attributes. Some will receive damage bonuses, while others might receive cooldown reduction or other effects. See, now that definitely really rewards grinders, because I know when I'm trying to get new legendaries or an upgrade, you're constantly getting dupes left and right, left and right. Like, come on, I just need this helm. I need this helm. You're getting like 20 helms or 20 chest pieces, and you're not getting what you need. That at least that's fodder for doing this mastery level. You can always view your current power and what your bonuses you'll get at the Zamina, the Essence Transfer NP. I was kind of thinking that is like it was going to be like a stamina bar, like kind of like another random bar they'd add here to screw up your viewpoint in game. Because quite currently, I hate this setup. Like, I look at my inherited gems and I can't see my bottom gems. I really wish they'd put it back up here, but that's just me. Like, why why cover this up? Like, if I want to look at my profile and I want to see all this and not have all this extra stuff, I can look at it this way. So why not just keep everything up top? All right. Now that I got a little sidetracked, let's check. See, we made this change as an aid improving experience, finding duplicate items for farmers to gain slightly faster power without creating an obstacle for more casual players. Additionally, we wanted to create an increased build diversity, providing players with the ability to specialize their builds if they wanted. We recommend taking a look at the essence list, see what synergizes might become available. So that's really cool to hear as well, because I like to test the crap out of every legendary. I love to see what we what we can and can't do with things. What's good for PvP, what should be just stuck to PvP. I'm really curious to see what they could do, because I like doing out of the norm things, right? So let's just see what else we got. Dungeon set item drops. All dungeons will now guarantee a drop item after many dungeon completions in a that did not result in this. Dungeons boosted by the codex have a lower threshold before guaranteeing a set item dropped. So we all know how the drop rate is, right? I had the most runs I've ever done for one dungeon just to get a damn belt for my Mount Banks. I did 243 runs before I got a drop, a single drop that was a belt. This was before you could craft anything. Finally got a belt. It happened to be a triple triple. It was only a triple triple double, double meaning it only had 2 gem slots. So it was kind of upsetting, but it was a really nice. That it really, we're gonna have to do some testing, right? Because they've always said, like, when you look at the overall codex of things, right? Um, double drops come down here. This week's double drop: Forgotten Tower, increased chance, and rapids. But are they really double drops? Like, sure, you always have a chance running a 4-man party. You can get one to drop from the chest or may not, but it kind of doesn't feel like a double drop. And some days it does. I've ran 3 dungeons in a row and gotten 3 to 4 legendary drops that have dropped all at once. So it could be something that overall makes the rest. I know last week Rapids wasn't on there and I wanted to run Rapids. So I ran Rapids and it was different than just doing Mad Kings or Tomb. So it is kind of nice to see that they are going to increase, but we need to figure out what the drop rate is. Is it every 5 dungeons? Is it every 6 dungeons that you don't get a drop? Or you're getting a guaranteed pity drop, I guess. Let's see. Continue to evaluate the state of set items. We have identified the need between players' ability to acquire items. Set item crafting with step, which I do agree with that. Crafting your items, that's basically what every double drop to us in our clan changed to. Was we're just going to run the double drop dungeons. Whichever one's easier, we're going to run double drops. We're going to get whatever it is we get, and then we're just going to crush them. If it's an upgrade, great, it's a stat sticker, but end all be all, we're crushing them for essences, for wisps, so we can make our own gear. Let's see here. Cross server dungeon. When a player is trying to party find dungeon, the party finder fails to find another player to join, it will search other servers. Players can also invite players from other servers. See, now that right there is fucking awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, before the server merges happened, you hit a certain point in the day when you just couldn't find parties for dungeons. After the server merge, it didn't really seem like any time of day I could always find a dungeon group. Somebody that was wanting to grind something, whether it was a double drop, something random, unless it was like really a random day of the week. I could typically find a dungeon group, but that's really nice. Especially, I know DM does it a lot. Where I've ran parties with DM, I've ran parties with other people that are like, "Oh, Tiny Penny, I love your videos." Um, this is an opportunity, I think, at least for streamers, anyways, let alone players in general, to get to play with other players from other servers. So it's not going to really affect raids, but you should effectively be able to marry up with somebody somewhere trying to run a dungeon. So we'll have to see how that works. That seems pretty cool. Let's see some immortal system improvements. Maybe there'll be something about like the loss of vault items. I know when we were immortal last time, we'd have 8 to 10 legendaries at the end of a week. So uh, we literally kept immortal for 3 weeks, gave it up because we weren't getting any items. There was just 2,000 plus shadows, and it would always say item stolen from the vault, item stolen. Even though, like, the immortal queue right now, awesome. I'm a shadow right now, doesn't matter. But one thing I loved about immortals was that queue. You could come out, you no longer had to wait 3 minutes. Another vault popped, you could pop right back in. It looks right now, it says Immortals will receive more information about the shadows who have alerted to defend the vault. Order parties in the queue will see the shadow party that has queue defend against them along with relative strength of the shadow party versus their party. So I do seeing that the leader can now decide whether to accept or defend. I really see this being the PvPers are going to like this. The free to play that are always defending the vault, that for some reason, no matter how many times you tell them, because you can't hinder your clanmates that don't want to spend a lot of money in the game, that still want to get their activity points by defending a vault. You can't tell them they can't defend the vault. That's just unfair. But I could see this is where it works in to where if they're actively paying attention, they could go, oh man, they're either going to show the parties' names or give them an overall resonance based, however they're doing it. We're really going to have to see. We're going to have to talk. I know we have a right at the end of the week. Maybe we win it, maybe we don't. Um, I may just have to hit up some of my immortal friends to see what they're actually seeing. Like if they go against a whale group, is it showing Amber Turd, Tiny Penny, Mommy, Shady, or is it showing, hey, there's a 5K, there's a 79K, there's a 72K player in there, a 6,300 player? Is it given an overall res like, oh, the average res of this group is 7K? Maybe these free to play group doesn't want to take it and be like, hey, whale team, you need to go in and fight these other whales. Maybe that's what it is. We'll have to see what happens, right? Um, because it does say party leaders will automatically pass all shadow parties that are respectively stronger than their party, enabling a new button to defend the vault interface. So it definitely seems like if they go, huh, these dudes are going to severely screw you guys up, you're not going to fight them. Which, as a whale team, we always want to fight the other whales. We don't want to go in and go, oh yeah, who is it? Oh man, it's a bunch of nobodies. We don't even know who they are. Oh man, they didn't even have Gladiator on. Like that's just depressing to us. Like I record a lot of my Volt interactions, and I love to try and find a good fight. So it is kind of nice to see. Let's what else we got? Rejoining the Shadow faction. So we're making the experience of rejoining Shadows after the cycle. Lottery system has been replaced with a first come first served system. An adventurer who signs up successfully during 3 daily recruitment periods 1, 7, 10 p.m. will instantly embark. See now that is really nice. I know every time it happens, we don't take immortal. We become shadows from immortal. It's usually half the day, and you're usually having to wait for the lottery to close. Hey, everybody donate their sigils, blah blah blah, and it takes a while. It's a major setback, especially with Immortals now having like it wasn't too bad when Immortals had to wait a day before defending the vault, and Shadows could get to the vault, take some gear, blah blah blah, and not have to fight Immortals. But then they made it to where it was fair. Immortals didn't have to wait till they unlocked Vault to be able to do Vault. And it only seems fair that they Shadows. People that log in, moment rain changes. So let me sign up for this and then be able to be one of those people get your sigils. That'll be good. To join a shadow faction, patron um, during one of the periods. All right, cool. Treasure Hunter. What are they doing with Treasure Hunter? Treasure Hunter tree has been updated to remove the restriction of outdoor areas for treasure finding gold and. See, now that is really nice. So I've had clanmates argue with me ever since running dungeons. Anytime I'm not in PvP, I'm always in treasure hunt. Always. I don't do mastermind, don't do any of those other fancy ones. We're having four different parties in a group, whatever, Vanquisher. Like unless I'm doing a challenge rift or I'll try and increase some survivability, I'm always in treasure hunt. So the fact that dungeons, even though I know there was no increased lucky find, all that crap, inside a dungeon, I always had it on. So this definitely makes the restriction of outdoor areas a lot nicer to me, especially a guy that's always swapping classes, playing different builds, playing different characters. I still have Wizard and Demon Hunter that I haven't played on my main, that this will definitely help out a lot more. Dev note, as we're looking for ways to make the Paragon tree more competitive and compelling players for choice, sometimes we find the best way to increase the value of the tree is making the viability of less of a niche. This, of course, is the action by taking with this update treasure hunter tree. Hope to incentivize you to find more uses for this tree while still maintaining its core identity as the tree. I really like. I really like that idea. I always felt personally having the tree on, I don't think increased my lucky find at all. I felt like it did increase the overall gold amount drop instead of getting like 50 to 90 drop. It always felt like there was at least 90 to 150 to 250 gold piles throughout a dungeon. Maybe that's just me, but now it's saying it'll work, so that's kind of cool. Battleground end of ceremony. When Battleground season, players will now receive a summary of their previous Battleground session. First time they talk to the Battleground. See, now that's kind of nice for somebody like me, right? If you look at the top of my bar for my current reign, I have 312 attacks, 268 defenses. We come, sure, I haven't played, I didn't get a chance to play PvP today, but if we come over to the leaderboards, Battlegrounds, so it looks like I'm in current place with 56%. Second place. That's kind of cool because I know at the end of the match it generally gives you a summary. Like I can figure out from I've had 580 games, 56% rate. I can actually look at one of my past matches and totally see how many wins I got. So that's kind of cool to be able to get an option to see like that. I really like that. Definitely for people that have an accomplishment, I track it just to see how things are going, especially class swapping. I feel like it gives me more attacks, especially when I switch to Necro. Boosted up my attacks. So let's see, converting Adventurer Clan, converting to a clan to a Dark Clan will now cost fives. See now this that I feel is really nice. Mind you, we've had an alt clan for a long time. That we just threw alts in so we could participate, have fun leveling up things. But since like I don't know, 3, 4 reigns ago, we haven't been able to get our alts in shadows because it's wanted 30 sigils, and we've even kicked members out. and we haven't been able to get our alts back in shadows because it changed the way sigils worked. You used to be able to log in every time after the main wave of people all joined shadows. We could get sigil after sigil, at least for inviting or the signets. But an update or two ago, we weren't able, each member could only donate 2 signets. And then it told us we had 14 out of 30 signets. We could never get that clan back into shadows, so they just stayed adventurers. Mind you, it's alts, but I could feel like that's being, you got a guy that doesn't want to leave a clan, and he wants to have a clan that's in shadows that he could technically just make an alt, get to level 43, invite it to the clan, get some signets for it, and boom, you have 3 players that do that. Boom, your shadows. That's really nice. Let's see here. Ooh, new resonance wings. Do we have 7K? Ooh. Well, we don't have 7K, which is, mind you, 7,900, right? 7,900 res. 7,900. That would definitely get me to spend more money if it was 7K, because I'd have to get the 7K wings. But look at that. We have milestone 2 and 4K wings. You know, I'm a I'm a sucker for wings, right? I wish there was actual cosmetics for the wings. But if you guys watch me on Twitch, you know my normal 1 sub badge is an eagle badge. 2 to 3 months is my 1 tier wing badges. 4 to 6 months is my 3K wings, and then 6+ months all the way to 9 plus another 5K wings. So it'll definitely, for me, get me to add more badges for my Twitch. But I also love putting on the other wings, right? Like, sure, I put the big wings on all the time. I equip the medium wings just to have them on there all the time. And especially if I don't recognize names when I get thrown into a BG, I call them my shark wings and I put on my 1K wings and let people do the research to figure out what res level I am. I'm in this match. Let's see how many kills I can get before they figure out I'm close to a 7K individual. I am really curious to see what cosmetic skin comes, because like there's the 1K skin, right? There's the 2K skin, depending on what gear you're wearing, so the helmet changed. Then the 3K, now it's a little bit more flamey. So I'm curious to see, because obviously I assume all us 5K and above are going to get those 2 and 4K wing unlocks. I do see we do have a lot of 18K free-to-play players. We do have a lot of 3K players, or they're like 3,300, that maybe that'll give them that extra push to get some 4K wings. I am curious to see like what the wings are really going to look like, because right now these wings are really bony, spiky looking wings, and then your other wings are definitely definitely a little less prominent. Like there's a little bit of start of bone through there, but it's all mainly flames. And you just have little tiny flames through there. So I am curious to see what's going to happen with those. The 2 and 4K, that's really cool. Looks like we have another lunar event, so it's probably like doing daily tasks. You get some gems, another emote, yeah, daily tasks, so server progress. That could be maybe some potential magic find coming back. The invites you tool, a call, new cycle, new optimism from January 16th to February 6th time. Do 3 daily tasks for festive rewards, such as red bags and item. You can also use my portrait with an emoji, so you get another portrait, another emoji. Logging in on certain days, get things. Just to log in, don't worry, you'll be given a quest to complete, which will give you the rewards, so that's kind of nice. Rewards have to be run in order. There's a red bag, any dungeon, any rift, beaten a dungeon times 2, Elder Rift times 2, elite monster times 5. Interesting. Red bags are rewards that can be gifted to a friend. Oh god. Ooh, buddy. So now we have New Year's gifts. Like we do those stupid Christmas cards. I feel like this is gonna be an issue again. You'll receive rewards for sending red bags to friends. Spread the blessing. Sending and receiving as many red bags as you can get your hands on. Oh, great. Oh, boy. Yeah. Feels like the Christmas cards all over again. Oh, boy. Completing this event will also give you a Telsum. Turn a Telsum in to buy in the second time. Each time. So that's your milestone. Got it. Each milestone rewarding players on the server. They bevy on battle. 8 of them to receive a legend. Look. Cosmetic. Definitely kind of festive. Fireworks for this character. Looks like fireworks. Horns, kind of elvish. That looks kind of cool, right? Kind of cool. The how to better the beast of the burning hell to become one yourself, adorn with primal or cons, but you're basically becoming 1,000 orbs, so it doesn't look like a 1,500 orber, so you're probably not getting a teleport for it or some wet. Looks like just standard cosmetic. Season 9 Battle Pass. We got the Wanderer. Definitely looks very festive. Definitely have to see. I am a sucker for cosmetics, so we will definitely have classes. Get it from the Battle Pass. 9 starts on the 19th. That's so, huh? Codex. Oh yeah, Battle Pass in 5 days. All right, people, get your Battle Passes done. That gives you 2 weeks. So you max out your Battle Pass this week, and then you have to get it done by the following week. Let's saying the 19th, huh? Yeah, so you have by next Thursday. So 2 chances to max out your current Battle Pass that you're on right now. So I would get that done. I always like maxing Battle Pass. Oh yes. You know what? I've been waiting for the fractured plane to come back. I had asked on the forums. I did all surveys. Talked about it. It was really fun when class swapping, when you were a fresh class and figuring out how you make builds around playing that specific class. Right. It got me to try things I normally wouldn't try because I had heard about uh well, I play it this way, and I'm like, yeah, but I did this in Fractured Planes, and it was really good in PvE. Let me try it out in PvP. So it gets people to try stuff out of their. So it seems like they're finally bringing that back again, which was really fun. Still 15 floors, no normal gear. So you basically have to get your gear. Just if you haven't played it before, you completed your levels, you saved up your points, you bought gear, you tried to rank it up, tried to survive. You only had so many deaths you could have in the fractured plane. If you completed all 15 levels, you got a legendary at the end. Still the same. Yep, so during your run, select 6 out of those 6 legendaries. You'll get 1 random. completing the fracture plan time around. You'll also receive a Tysum for your rewards. Turn it in to contribute against the server progress. Okay. Fracture plane will be same length, doing it for a little less than a month. And looks like they're bringing the Hungry Moon back, which always love the free stuff, free loot by doing normal things you normally do, increase match, turning in rewards. Bug fixes. Click here for all platform and known bug issues. Let's see. January 10th was the last time they came out with anything. So January 10th fixed an issue that allowed players to pass through walls using skills at certain edges of zones. Fixed an area where defeating one of the raid bosses didn't complete the codex achievement. Fixed an issue where players defeated Sakura in the Pit of Anguish did not receive the really aware of that one. I have had the pit bug out on us. Fixed an issue that would cause players to disconnect while loading into different areas, followed by controls. This is a big one. The big UI find, where you'd lose your UI or you'd get frozen somewhere. That's kind of good. Fixed an issue where players could not receive login rewards from the Vermintide event. I wasn't aware of that. I had no issues with the Vermintide event, minus getting spammed with wake cards. I was able to get all the rewards, get all the gems for sending and receiving cards. Fixed an issue that would cause players to become stuck boss fight. Yeah, well, no, I won't lie. I did get stuck. You'd be doing the stun zone. You'd kill all the enemies. Everybody would zone back in the boss, and you'd be stuck in the original zone. Couldn't get out unless you left in. Hello, Corey. The permissions join warband have been removed. Okay. Yeah, we noticed that it was basically invite only. Change it afterward. Found an issue where players could not perform a server transfer. The Paragon level was higher than the server level. Now players can perform a server transfer if the Paragon is not higher than of the top 50 players there. See, now that right there is I think really good, because we have so many people that want to come play with us, but like, let's see what my current server is. I haven't been playing for a while. It's at 454. I'm 451 right now. Normally I'm about 7 levels above Paragon level. I know we had a couple guys that wanted to come join us, but when our Paragon was at 442, they were at 453, and they just open world farm, open world grind. That's kind of nice, because we have, if our top 50 players right now, 454 being the minimum, let's say they're 460 or 462, most of them being 462 at 10%, they're under that top 50 people. It seems pretty good to me. More of a chance to get people to change, so that's kind of cool. UI fixed an issue where auto navigate UI on the screen. The player reach. Oh, where it lingered. Yeah. I did notice that. I would teleport, go somewhere, arrive at the destination. If I moved anywhere else, it was still telling me to. Auto nav will no longer go away when navigating. Go arrive. Okay, that's cool. And that looks like it's it. So they're probably going to come out with some more stuff. Known issues for patch. That was back in June. Okay. Q&A series. We have some answers. Check out the Q&A. Did they come out with a new one? They haven't yet. I've definitely heard they're going to be doing a new Q&A here shortly. So as soon as they come out with the new Q&A, we'll definitely be going over that because I think seems like they're definitely overdue. November 30th. Maybe they're doing it every couple of months, so maybe the 30th of January we'll see because they do say have any questions, check out our Q&A series. Hopefully soon they'll be coming out with another one. So I know this video went long. I usually try and keep. There was a lot of info in this huge update that's coming out. So I'm really excited to see what happens. I know this video went long. I hope you guys make it all the way through. I hope the info came well received. I definitely like that they're tailoring towards some of the mid-tier players. They're coming out with more Legos because I love farming new gear and testing that out. I know the free to play that 2K is achievable. 3K players, you've spent, I don't know, 3 to 5K, and that a little extra push to try and make some money for some 4K wings may seem more achievable. So that seems really cool. Like always, I hope you like and subscribe to this video. And when you get me on Twitch, I will be streaming this weekend because I do get the weekend off, but I will be back on nights starting next week again. Um, so I won't be streaming during the week, but I stream as much as I can. Just remember that. And whenever you get an opportunity, I'm always willing to help people. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you come join my Twitch family channel and come hang out with me, watch me do some battlegrounds, some BGs, raiding people, hanging out. I'm always willing to help, and I hope you guys have a good time and enjoyed this update, and I'll see you in the future. Thanks, guys. Have a good